Aloha friends, good morning. I will be showing you guys a quick and simple biscuits and gravy recipe that I found on Pinterest. You guys know how much I love my Pinterest. And so this simple recipe only calls for your ready-made biscuits that you can find at your refrigerator aisle. I like to use my Grand's Flaky Layers. It's much more flavorful and it works perfectly well with the biscuits and gravy recipe. Salt and pepper, 1 pound of premium pork sausage, 1/3 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, and then half a cup of half and half. I will be doubling this recipe, so I will be using a regular and a hot premium sausage so that I can freeze it for my family and they can just have it ready to go whenever they're craving for biscuits and gravy for breakfast. So let's go ahead and get started. Now here's a little trick that I've been doing since making this biscuits and gravy recipe. It is so hard to get the sausage finely, not finely, but like in little smaller pieces. So what I have been using is I have an oversized fork, and it's so much more easier to flatten it out and turn it into little pieces compared to my spatula or my what do you call this? Not ladle, but my regular utensils that I use. The fork really breaks it down. So much more easier. So I'm just gonna brown this just the way it is, and the only seasoning I'm gonna add to it is just a little bit of pepper. Alright, it's evenly cooked now. And the recipe did state that we will be adding our 1/3 cup flour right onto the mixture. Now this is kind of not the usual way. Usually to make a roux is on a different saucepan with the flour being cooked on low heat for a little bit until brown, and then we add on to the milk. But I will try out her recipe this way. The first time I did try it out was that I did do my roux separately. This is about the second or third time I'm trying out this recipe, and it is very flavorful. But what I did find out though from making this recipe the first time around is that it's not as runny as my Nana's recipe. So this time around I'm gonna add just a little bit more milk. So I gave you guys the ingredients just exactly how she had it, and so once you guys start making it, then it's basically changing it up a bit to meet your wants of how you guys like it. The flour just basically acts as a thickening agent, as you guys know. And so this is actually a lot more easier than putting it into a saucepan. As you guys notice, with my first 1/3 cup of flour, it started thickening up already. Now I'm putting in another one because this is a double batch recipe. But this seems to be a lot more easier than the separate saucepan that I've been doing with is it the roe? Look at that, my sausage is nice and thick now. There's no more fat at the bottom. So I'm just going to be adding a little bit more. I'm just cooking up the flour just a little bit, and there's no clumps. That's wow. So that is a good tip with this recipe. Just add the flour onto the sausage. So much more easier. Look at that. There's no clumps at all. Okay, I'm gonna turn down my heat. Start pouring in my milk one at a time. So this is my half a cup of half and half. And then instead of 1 cup milk, I will be putting in 1.5 cup of milk. So there you go. That's my first liquid. I'll be adding more. That's just for the 1 pound sausage, and like I said, I have 2 pound sausages in here, but I wanted to mix it up before I add on the other one. Wow, so much easier than putting the flour into a different saucepan. And less pot to clean up afterwards too. So I am liking this version of how she's doing it. And here it is. So now it's just gonna simmer for a good maybe 15-30 minutes. The sausage is already cooked, so we're just basically just letting it thicken up some more and letting all the flavors blend in together. I went ahead and added my my salt, as you can see on the top. Such a very simple recipe. I do like her technique about putting in the flour along with the sausage rather than putting it into a saucepan. And this recipe is not the healthiest. Biscuits and gravy, any recipe that you'll find is not the healthiest recipe out there, but it is a very hearty meal. My kids love it, hubby love it, I love it, and we have this every other weekend or so. So I do like to make a big batch of it and then freeze it up so that when